I'm Qual.
EA Sports and the Wolf Creek Golf Club so proudly present opening round coverage of the EA Sports Spring Invitational. Always some extra excitement when you get to the first major championship of the year, and here we are. Rich Lerner alongside Frank Nobilo. We're at Wolf Creek Golf Club in Mesquite, Nevada for the EA Sports Spring Invitational. Partner, this is a big one.
It certainly is, Rich, and being the first major of the year, you know the players are going to be a little bit more nervous. Anticipations of a great year are going to start right here this week at Wolf Creek. And going to have to make all those adjustments out there. Is your game ready? Can you adjust for the changes in elevation? And do you have the confidence to go all the way and pick up the first major championship of the year? There's something about a well-hit shot. Oh, that was sweet. Straight down the middle.
Okay, the second shot now at this par 5. Frank, that ball's sitting up like it's on plush carpeting.
Rich, if you and I had lies like that every time, we'd still be playing this game for a living.
The green is up above, and this will play at least a club longer. On the green, and a chance for birdie here in the first hole.
It's no snack, though.
That's not how you picture it, Frank, when you step on that first tee.
No, you'd like to go back to that first tee right now and start again.
You don't want to let this one get away. This is about concentration and focus at this point. Even par early on. Here at the par 4, 445-yard second hole. Severe dogleg to the left. What's the best play here, Frank?
Well, that tee shot, Rich, is so intimidating, so you don't necessarily have to hit driver. Club decision is probably going to be important here, because if you hit driver, you've got to take it down over that left side, all over the canyon area. So if you hit 3-wood, you can play a slightly more conservative tee shot, but it is going to leave you a longer second shot to a green that's well protected on the right side by bunkers. But really, you know, if the wind's not blowing, this is a really good, fun hole to play. Look at the vistas.
Now the second shot here to this par 4 second.
Well, you took some yardage off that tee shot because it's playing downhill, and the second shot, you might have to add a little bit on because it's going to play slightly back up the hill. Green has 3 different levels. Be very important you get the ball on the right level. That bunker on the right, if you come out of it a little bit because that second shot's slightly uphill, there could be a little bit of a problem, especially if the flag's all the way in the back.
No problems there. A really good approach shot. And now, good looking birdie.
Even par currently.
Good try, just didn't quite read the break, Frank.
It shouldn't be a problem, you'd think, cleaning up here for par.
Just a little tap in here. That's a par, and that keeps the scorecard clean, still even for the round. All right, Frank, describe the third hole.
Well, it's a par 3 with a bit of a tabletop green, Rich. Some bunkers right and left of that, but also it's going to play a little bit further. This tee shot is uphill, unlike the opening 2 holes. So a 3 here, and that certainly won't hurt the scorecard. There's a bunker over there.
I think he's headed for it. Just a little offline, so now, Frank, he's going to have to deal with a rough.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how strong he is.
Second shot coming out of the rough here. Unless you're as good as Rory McIlroy, you probably don't want to be playing some of these back tees. Play it a little forward. It'll be a more enjoyable experience. However,
play off the back. Well, play off the back.
I would say go to the back tees, Frank, because the views are just so unbelievable. You need to at least walk back there, pull the phone out, and take some pictures.
Come on, if you're going to play Wolf Creek just once, you trying to tell me you wouldn't play off the back?
You might shoot higher than
you'd play off the back. I know you would.
The course rating is 154.
You'd play off the back.
The score on the card might be higher. Yeah, I would punish myself. Yes. So just getting started, even par so far. And we pick up action at the 4th. Frank, when you get out of the gates, as our featured golfer has done, with a lot of pars, steady play, what's the mindset?
You've got to keep doing that, Rich. Just maybe get a little closer to the hole, drive a little bit better, work on the pace of the putting. Just little gains, and then all of a sudden you're going to notice a big difference in the scorecard.
Right where they were aiming, in the fairway. Frank, really good chance from this position to make a birdie.
Yeah, really the only thing he's looking at right now is the flag. This is a green light special.
Well, that is an exceptional shot on the green and in position for a birdie.
Yeah, it's a formality now.
Locked in on the read and the speed. Oh my gosh, that hurts.
Hard.
Well, that would have been a bonus had it gone in, but still, reasonable chance for par here.
Yeah, there's no damage. You're not going to birdie every hole.
Still playing even for the day after the par. How about this hole, Frank? Par 5, 5th.
If you stand on this tee for the first time, you've got virtually no idea where you've got to aim. Do you aim it left of those bunkers? Do you aim it over the sort of the canyon? Really, the answer is how far do you hit it? Because that is going to determine the line that you hit it on. Avoid the water, that little stream, but you can always have a drink on the way if you want to, I guess. Second shot plays uphill, but this is a relatively short par 5, so very reachable. But you can see you've got to flight that second shot. You want to make sure that ball's coming in nice and high to this green that's perched up.
Playing his second shot here at the par 5.
Wowzer.
Headed for the bunker? Well, too bad. He'll have to play from the bunker. Great professionals, Frank, they don't fear the greenside bunker shot, do they?
No, because you can be as aggressive or as conservative as you want. You actually have far more options. And you don't have to hit the ball first.
Superb shot.
Well, it's as good as it's going to get. There's going to be no worries about making that one.
And this will be a 5-foot putt here. Frank, you've navigated so many leaderboards in your career. This is the way to do it, isn't it?
Oh, there's plenty of holes ahead too, Rich. Third place, a really good position to be playing from here on in.
Well, he pays a price for that.
Yeah, when you don't see the top of the ball in the rough, you know it's not sitting pretty. You'll need a bit of force to extract one out of there.
Second shot coming out of the rough here.
Almost a disaster.
So the second of the par 4 goes begging, and now I'll have to rely on the short game.
Yeah, but a short game, as we all know, can redeem a lot of mistakes. See if he does it here. A few more birdies like that, Rich, you never know, just might sneak place on the podium.
In the top 10 right now. Frank, a very short par 4 here at the 7th, but not one you're going to try to hit off the tee.
No, unless you can fly the ball sort of 300 yards on the nose and stop it within sort of 5 or 6 yards, it's really too risky. This green is not very deep, just sort of 10 or 15 yards in depth. It's just a layup hole, but layup hole just it simply doesn't mean grab a club and hit it down the fairway. The best way to play it is to try and hit the ball right on the number. And where I mean by number, I mean the full shot yardage for your second shot, even if that only is a sand iron.
Paying attention like a little kid at school, Frank. That baby's sitting up.
Sitting up. It's got the best view as well. You don't even need binoculars from where that ball is.
Second shot now to the 7th, and really no margin for error here.
You certainly have to be pinpoint precise with your second shot. If you've laid back, then you've got a nice slightly uphill lie, which should help. But if you try and get it past those bunkers, then you're dabbling with that downhill lie. That's going to make that second shot a little harder to judge because the ball's going to come out lower. And remember, this is where the thin air makes that shot a little harder to judge.
Just a beautiful approach shot. Getting set now over the putt. Setting himself up for a good weekend, the wily golf instructor makes his birdie. Par 3 8, 248 yards down to the green. What a hole.
Yeah, maybe you put your two hands together, make a little prayer. You might make two, but you make three here and run to the next tee. This is it's just a gorgeous par 3, but it is tough. Every bit as tough as what it is pretty, as a matter of fact.
Wouldn't call it a great approach shot, but it still ends up in the fringe.
A little bit of magic from here. It's hole's not over.
All right, Frank, just on the fringe, he might be thinking about making this.
Yeah, he's a better chipper than you, Rich.
Okay, good shot on the dance floor. Could use this. A putt for par.
No mistake made there with par.
Stepping up to the shot here at the 9th. It's a par 4, 390 yards.
It is anything other than straight off the tee because of all these sort of undulations and curvature on the fairway. You'd think well bunkered, but the last bunker on the right side there, longer hitters, they can nearly fly that, just over 300 yards. Either that, shorter hitter, just play to that fat area of the green. That'll be sort of some, 270 yards. That will take all the water out of play into a green that slopes back at you. So very good chance, even with a wedge in hand, to get the ball close. A good way to finish the front 9.
Approach shot into this 9th green, Frank. What's the best play?
A good drive, especially an ambitious drive down there, is just going to leave a pitch up to this green. And if you're coming in here straight, really, it's a good time to just hit one there and skip it into that flag. You can land it short, come in a little lower, and bounce it back towards the flag. Should be safely on deck.
That is an excellent play right there. The approach, giving him another good look. Standing over this putt, concentrating on the read. Starting to play some good golf. With that birdie, moves to 4 under for the tournament. Well, that was a nearly flawless performance on the front side, but Frank, we know it's an 18-hole game, isn't it?
That's right. Now's not the time to pat yourself on the back.
Not going to make the fairway.
Getting set for this next shot from the rough, what does the player need to be careful of here, Frank?
Well, this is where we're going to see exactly how good they are because, that's not exactly the best lie, but it's sort of doable if you know what you're doing. Well, that's the best that was going to be on the fringe.
Not too bad. Well, Frank, this is something we've seen more and more of in recent years, players just on the fringe.
Yeah, it's good to see. It shows he's thinking. You don't just have to grab the lob wedge, and that's it. Hybrid, putt, you name it, whatever works.
And he's made it onto the green. Just a tap in to finish the hole. Did the job right there. Frank, another really rugged hole. This is the par 3 11th here at Wolf Creek.
Rich, remember that book, Dead Solid Perfect? This is what this hole's all about, because you must hit that tee shot solid. You've got to carry all the trouble in front of you. And remind yourself, too, there's enough green grass down there. Not necessarily green, but green grass around there. A good shot safely on the putting surface here, and this green's not too severe. But this is a fun par 3 just to look at, or even at least experience.
Well, that ball nestled down just a bit in that heavy rough. Shot now from the rough. Frank, what's he facing?
Well, the lie first and foremost. If it's sitting down, then obviously you're not going to get a very good contact. Nothing wrong with coming up a little bit short of the green. Problem is turning one mistake into another.
Settles in over the putt. That's how you maintain momentum. Make those putts for par. Frank, the par 5 12th is another case of a hole where you see that Wolf Creek Golf Club can actually be kind of scary, daunting. You look out at the desert mountains, and then you add in some water, which we have here on the left, and you can go for some big numbers here if you're not careful.
Well, this is where the Wolf and the Creek can take a bite out of you. You hit it left off the tee, then you're certainly going to start to rack up a number. There's enough fairway down the right, but once again, if you hit a good drive and this hole is reachable for you, then you've got to worry about the water, which is to the right of this green. 5 wouldn't be the worst score you could make around here, that's for sure. I've seen 6s and 7s.
Frank, this is a position where a player is absolutely licking his chops here. Good chance to make a birdie.
Yeah, this is when this game just looks like fun. Bunkers don't seem to be in play. The only thing you're really looking at right now is just the flag.
Terrific golf shot. And now that for an easy birdie. Just playing excellent golf. 5 under for the tournament. 13th hole here at Wolf Creek, and Frank, anyone can say, oh, I'm going to take this one over the trees, but very few can stand up and say, I'm flying this baby clear over the mountains.
Yeah, if you take the direct route, obviously it's going to be much shorter than the 350 yards that it's measured as a dogleg right. So the direct line, well, I don't want to tell you the exact yardage because it might give you too much of a clue, but it might be worth taking. It's going to be a blind tee shot, though, and you're not quite sure on the outcome.
Frank, what's the right way to get at this whole location?
A nice layup down the left side is going to leave something in the vicinity of 115, maybe even shorter if you've hugged the right side down there. Going uphill, well framed in between those mountains on either side. This green should be very receptive because it slopes back towards you.
Seems to like it. Looks like it's headed for the green. That will be a great look at birdie. Not a gimme, but well within his range. That was a good-looking putt, just not falling right now.
Sadly, he's going to be disappointed.
Really not much to this. The only issue would be a lack of concentration or focus. Just an amazing display. The records continue to fall. Now to the 14th hole, and Frank, this is probably the best par 4 here at Wolf Creek.
Well, it's certainly the hole that they take the most photographs on, Rich, and you can see why. Great vantage point of the whole golf course. The hole's just sort of littered with bunkers down the left side, so you know where not to go once again. Go to the right side of that. Hole just keeps sort of hooking around that left side. It plays under 450 yards. It's fun. Just sort of draw it a little off the tee, draw it a little into the green, and you'll be fine.
That one is in the bunker. Not missing by much today, but enough to, again, be in the bunker. Anything you do differently with your setup?
Just dig my feet into the sand a little bit more, but make sure you focus on the exact spot on the ball you want to hit.
That one is bunker bound, it looks like. That looked like a miss hit, Frank.
The lie was okay. It's a little surprising. Maybe wrong club.
Well, the best in the game don't do it any better. McIlroy, Fowler, Duffner, they'd be impressed by that bunker shot. Right about 9 feet here to the hole. Impressive. Once again, that's a par, remaining at 5 under. Now to the short par 3 15th hole here at Wolf Creek. What is this, Frank? Just a wedge or a 9-iron?
That's all, Rich, but it's very tempting to get greedy here. And, well, you pay the price, obviously, if you miss the green on the left down in those bunkers, because they're, well, a good 6-7 feet below the level of the green. But with a wedge or a 9-iron, who doesn't go aiming at the flag? Oh, solid strike right in the heart of the green.
Frank, not close, but not bad either.
You can always make the odd 20-footer, and that's exactly how far they are away.
And getting ready for the putt. What a beautiful roll right there, dead center. Now to the 16th hole as we get set for the finishing stretch. And Frank, what's the best way to play this relatively short par 4?
Somehow you've got to straighten the hole up in your mind's eye, Rich. Just look all the way across that canyon and look like the hole was built straight, because really that's the way it should be played. If you start looking left and turning it into a dog leg, then all of a sudden bad things can happen. So look straight at the green. That's your line. Just try and bisect those 2 fairway bunkers.
Well, we've seen this before today, in the bunker. Well, in the sand, but it has been raked nicely, looking for something positive. Well, Frank, obviously our gamer is one of the best from the bunkers, but for the average player out there, what's the mistake they too often make when trying to play a bunker shot?
Well, it's the only shot in golf where you're not trying to hit the ball. You're trying to hit the sand first. But it means the club has to go through the sand on both sides. Take a nice little divot, with the ball in the middle, follow through. Ball's going to come out every time.
Now to the 17th, par 5 here at Wolf Creek Golf Club.
Yeah, dogleg left. Tee shot obviously has to be played short of that creek down there. It's still going to be a reachable hole, even though this hole's sort of around the 550, 560 mark. But because you've got to play short of that stream, it's going to leave a lengthy second shot, and you've got to get the distance right on the button.
Frank, he is one of the longest hitters in the game, but at some point, you have to hit a fairway.
Yeah, he's certainly not the straightest. I think that was the bit you're going to put in the middle.
Second shot from the rough. It's on the way.
Oh, this is heading in the wrong direction.
Uh-oh. That one ends up in the rough.
Oh, that went sideways.
Frank, you always talk about it not compounding the error, but here again, another shot from the rough.
Yeah, if you try again.
Well, that's what separates the good players from the great players, the ability to get it that close from that kind of line. Just continuing to play some really good golf. 8 under par for the championship. Now the closing hole here at Wolf Creek. Frank, what's ahead of us?
You could try and drive at this green, but there's too much trouble, really, Rich. Even though this hole's just over 300 yards, it's very ambitious to try and drive it across that water. Some might try. Most people try and hit a tee shot 240, 250 yard mark, and of course, you do the maths, you're only going to have 60 or 70 yards in, and well, they want you to finish on a good note. So good drive in the fairway here, or a 3-wood, pitch it on the green, make a 3, and buy your friends a drink in the clubhouse.
Settles in, looking to knock it in tight. Frank having to deal with the elements today.
Yeah, this is anything other than just playing on a calm day, so you've got to be so aware of the direction it's coming from. He's done a good job.
This one looks like it's headed right for the middle of the dance floor, Frank.
Rather nice shot, I would say.
Wow, Frank, he is dialed in.
Yeah, that was just some shot on there. Easy birdie.
Standing over this putt, concentrating on the read. You may have lost track at home, but we're keeping count, and that is 9 under for the day. So through one round, Frank, our leader really put on a good show today.
They certainly did, Rich. It was truly a great performance, especially from tee to green. It's not easy to come out of the gates like that.
EA Sports and the Wolf Creek Golf Club so proudly present second round coverage of the EA Sports Spring Invitational. Today we're here at Wolf Creek Golf Club in Mesquite, Nevada. Rich Loader alongside Frank Nobilo set to bring you all of the action for the EA Sports Spring Invitational. And Frank, what can the players expect from Wolf Creek?
Just a mesmerizing layout, Rich. You can see that from above. Straight driving is imperative out there today. You actually don't have to hit the ball a long way. The elevation on those tees is going to give you that extra distance on almost every shot. You can even take driver out of play on some of the holes. But really it's about being in the right position first on those tee shots that you're going to hit today. Oh, that's it. New member of the 300-yard club.
Good poke right there.
Second shot.
Frank, that ball's sitting up like it's on plush carpeting.
Rich, if you and I had lies like that every time, we'd still be playing this game for a living.
Well, he's going to have to hit the same club a lot harder or just hit another one. Beautiful shot. That is tight.
Unbelievable. That is one to savor for the rest of the round.
Frank, this would be a nice way to jumpstart the round.
Yeah, his momentum can quickly go in the right direction if he makes this.
Really starting to shine, moves to 10 under for the tournament. Ready to tee off here at the second hole. Quite a view from up here, Frank.
Once again, big elevated tee. And it's hard to imagine you have a tee that high up, but that'll shorten that 445 yards. Obviously, it's a dog leg left. You've got to be careful if you hit driver and two straight, because then you can run out. A nice tee shot in the middle there, and then you've got a relatively straight shot into this sort of par 4 green, obviously going a little bit back up the hill. And once again, a little bit like that opening hole, sort of different tiers on that green. Try and make sure that you're on the right one.
Frank, really good chance from this position to make a birdie.
Yeah, really the only thing he's looking at right now is the flag. This is a green light special.
Another good swing, and it looks like, Frank, another really good shot. Boy, I'm reminded of what an old caddy used to say about the great Lanny Watkins when he was on fire. You can't hide the flagstick from that man. So coming off the birdie on the previous hole, a chance now for yet another one.
And momentum all in his favor.
Oh, I thought he had that.
Well, I thought they'd at least pick up a shot. Birdie looked like a sitter. Now at par.
And he makes it for par. All right, Frank, describe the third hole.
Well, it's a par 3 with a bit of a tabletop green, Rich. Some bunkers right and left of that, but also it's going to play a little bit further. This tee shot is uphill, unlike the opening 2 holes. So a 3 here, and that certainly won't hurt the scorecard.
Headed for the bunker, I think. Not quite what he was hoping for, the tee shot in the bunker. So getting set for a greenside bunker shot. Frank, when I think of the great bunker players in the history of the sport, I think about Gary Player, Seve Ballesteros, whom you knew so well. What did they do that made them so effective on these greenside bunker shots?
They had an attitude for a start that was different. For them, they saw possibilities. And they would imagine the amount of sand. Remember, because this is the only shot in golf where you don't have to hit the ball first. So they would really choose the amount of sand behind the ball, whether that was an inch or 2. Aimed the club at that and made sure they followed through.
Did the job right there. 383-yard fourth hole. Certainly not long, Frank, but there's plenty of trouble out there.
Yeah, this is very much a positional hole. This is not sort of tee it up with a driver and just rip it down there. Just find the fairway. You're going to have virtually just a short wedge, 9-iron really at the most into this green. And really, this is a good chance for a birdie. So 2 good shots, and you shouldn't be too far away.
Probably going to have to hit one more club here, Frank. A little bit uphill. Headed for the bunker. Playing this par 4, still not on the green after that second shot.
That's still not done. A good third shot, maybe get away here with par. And an awkward little bunker shot, just splash it out, let the ball run towards the flag. Safely on the dance floor.
Locked in on the read and the speed. That's how you maintain momentum. You make those putts for par. How about this hole, Frank? Par 5, fifth.
If you stand on this tee for the first time, you've got virtually no idea where you've got to aim. Do you aim it left of those bunkers? Do you aim it over the sort of the canyon? Really, the answer is how far do you hit it, because that is going to determine the line that you hit it on. Avoid the water, that little stream, but you can always have a drink on the way if you want to, I guess. Second shot plays uphill, but this is a relatively short par 5, so very reachable. But you can see you've got to flight that second shot. You want to make sure that ball's coming in nice and high to this green that's perched up.
Second shot coming up here at the par 5. Frank, this is a position where a player is absolutely licking his chops here. Good chance to make a birdie.
Yeah, this is when this game just looks like fun. Bunkers don't seem to be in play. The only thing you're really looking at right now is just the flag.
On the green in regulation. Made par yesterday. This one for birdie. Frankie took plenty of time on this birdie putt. He looked at it from 3 different angles. He forgot one very important ingredient.
Yeah, pace. You can definitely fall in love with the line, even with approach shots as well, but obviously we see it more on putting.
Seems to really have the touch today. Here at the 6th, 447-yard par 4. Pretty good hole, Frank.
Yeah, probably a layup hole, too, for the longer hitters. Something out there around the 280, 290-yard mark to make sure you don't go it in the stream. Obviously, it's a dogleg right, as you can see. The canyon on both sides is sort of well-defined, so you know where not to go. Second shot plays a little bit back up the hill to a green. Once again, that's anything other than flat. It's fun. You've got to make sure you get that ball on the right tier if you want to have a birdie putt here.
Frank couldn't ask for anything more.
Just a lie there, too. It is sitting up like it's teed up.
Frank, straight uphill with this approach shot, what do you have to factor in terms of club selection and setup over the ball?
Well, you're going to have to take at least an extra club to make up for that added elevation. And also, it's tougher to get onto that front foot.
Well, this one should be safely on deck here. Well, that is an exceptional shot on the green and in position for a birdie.
Yeah, it's a formality now.
He really likes this hole. Made birdie yesterday. Can he do it again today? Pretty much doing everything right this week. 11 under for the tournament. Well, everybody loves the short par 4, and here we have one, Frank, just 302 yards, the 7th hole.
And this hole is anything other than straightforward, Rich. Huge drop off at the front of the screen that is surrounded by water. So it's going to be a layup off the tee, really, to try and get the right yardage. This green is very, it's not very deep, but it's extremely wide. The hardest thing is to try and get a flat lie with whatever club you decide to hit off the tee and get the right yardage. Otherwise, that green actually might be a little elusive, even though this is a very short hole.
Now the approach shot to the 7th, and Frank, this one will get the player's attention.
It will. It'll be just a short iron in here, but a lot's going to depend on whether your lie is uphill, downhill, or if you manage to get it in the flat, then the shot becomes much easier. As you can see, the green's not very deep. So once again, be so precise with your yardage, because if you do, you'll be well rewarded here at 7.
Well, that's how you play the game, right there. You'd love to get this one. Big putt for birdie. Go ahead and do that for birdie. Frank, the 8th here at Wolf Creek in Mesquite, Nevada is really the signature par 3, isn't it?
I'd go so far, Rich, to say this is a great par 3. Doesn't matter where it was played. The stream that sort of comes all the way down there and surrounds the left side of the screen makes this hole really daunting. Logic would say if you're going to miss the screen, obviously you'd miss it to the right, but it's just a beautiful hole. And then you put the fact that the canyon frames the whole hole itself. It's beautiful.
So a chance for birdie after another solid approach shot. This one just requires a little bit of focus. Surprise, surprise.
I'll tell you, just when you thought things were going to go the other way.
Set to round out the front side here at Wolf Creek with a par 4.
Fun hole for the big hitter, too. They can really take advantage of this. The last fairway bunker down there on the right side is just over 300 yards to get over it. And longer hitters could nearly drive it in the green side bunker on the right. So just tee it up there. You're playing desert golf for a reason. Enjoy it. Just have a little flick in here. Chance, too, to have a little birdie at the end of your front 9.
Paying attention like a little kid at school, Frank. That baby's sitting up.
Sitting up. It's got the best view as well. You don't even need binoculars from where that ball is. Should be safely on deck.
Wow, Frank, he is dialed in.
Yeah, that was just some shot on there. Easy birdie.
Birdie putt coming up. Had a par on this hole yesterday. Almost. Wow. Oh, man.
I just pushed it.
Boy, that hurts. You love to watch him disappear, don't you? Well, that was a nearly flawless performance on the front side, but Frank, we know it's an 18-hole game, isn't it?
That's right. Now's not the time to pat yourself on the back. Now, this is not heading in the right direction.
Well, it looks like it's going to be in the rough. Not on the fairway here. This could be a tough shot coming up next. Second shot from the rough. It's on the way. Frank, this really is kind of a good lesson. You and I had said earlier that it looked gloomy. But you dig in, you keep fighting, and something good happens.
You have to credit his composure.
Well, it looks as though they're going to need to use all their strength to sort of hack it out of that rough, missing it off the tee here. Into the tall cabbage, that ball is swallowed up. Frank, you always talk about it not compounding the error, but here again, another shot from the rough.
Yeah, if you try again.
Can't hide the flagstick from that man. So a tester from 4 feet. That had to really hurt Frank, because it looked good all the way.
Well, this will test his mettle.
Just needs to keep it steady here over the putt. Frank, they didn't have any openings at EA Sports Basketball because, I mean, this is just brutal to watch. On to the 11th hole, we're looking downhill, 215 yards to the green.
And this is one of the holes that you realize you're at Wolf Creek. You would never see this hole anywhere else in the world. It's amazing when you stand on this tee. You see all of the canyons around, but there is a little green area down there. Surrounded by a couple of bunkers. It's a great-looking par 3. It measures 215 yards. Very playable, and you never know. Today might be the day where you make birdie.
Well, he's on the green, but still plenty of work left. About a 25-footer coming up. Made a par in his previous round. This time, it's for birdie. Very well done. Almost made it.
Yeah, there'll be no stress for the next one.
Nothing wrong with that par putt. Par 5, 12th, and Frank, another reminder that Wolf Creek can really be intimidating.
It can. Water down the left. They'll take a huge dent off your scorecard. A lot of fairway down the right. Somehow find that. This par 5 can be reachable in 2. There's still trouble to the right of this green if you get a little bit cavalier. This, without doubt, the longest green on the golf course. It's 55 yards from front to back.
Excellent drive right there, Frank.
Circa 310.
And from the fairway for his second shot here. And as he strides up here to the 12th green, having hit it in regulation, he knows now that his work is by no means done. A long putt coming up. Yeah, that's a good putt right there. From that distance, he'll settle.
so devastated he didn't.
Just a couple of feet.
100-foot putt.
No problems there.
Yeah, keeps the round going, keeps the momentum on his side.
Now to the 13th hole, and, oh, I don't know, should we just fly it over the mountains, Frank?
It looks like that, but then you better find dry land. 350 yards, but as the crow flies, it's probably just a little over 300 yards. I don't know if the mere mortals would really want to flash it across that desert ridge. You probably want to play a little left of it, have a little pitch up the hill, but if you're one of the longer hitters, why not just try it, see if you can make it.
This is a 99-yard shot. Frank, you played in conditions all over the world. Here come the winds now. What's the mindset?
Well, this is really what separates the men from the boys. This is where you've got to tell yourself, and it's an advantage to you. Obviously, the scores will go up a little bit, given the conditions. But once again, this is going to suit the stronger player today.
You like the old phrase, swing easy when it's breezy?
Definitely when you're hitting it into a head breeze. But down breeze, tee it up a little bit, try and ride that wind some more.
Continues to amaze. Yet another birdie, and what a day it's been. 14th hole here at Wolf Creek. Time to pull out the driver and as well the phone, because you want to take some pictures here. What a spectacular view.
Stunning. You can see a whole panoramic sort of 360 degrees right around this golf course. Then when you flick back and actually look at the 14th hole, there's 6 bunkers, 3 really in play with the tee shot, as you can see, the other 3 just up by the green. Anything to the right of those is preferred, unless you want to be playing your second shot out of the canyon or the bunkers. Green should be fairly receptive, and 3 distinct portions, which is sort of a common trait here at Wolf Creek. That's sort of 3 different tier levels and that. But let's see, birdies are to be made at Wolf Creek, maybe even one here.
Uh-oh, this one's going left, Frank. Playing this par 4, still not on the green after that second shot.
But still not done. A good third shot, maybe get away here with par.
How good was that, Frank, from the rough?
Oh, that's amazing. That's a master class in short game.
Not a gimme, but well within his range. Just an amazing display. The records continue to fall. Frank, who are the best putters you've ever seen, and what did they do that made them so effective?
Well, there was always the Crenshaws that putted beautifully, but the best when it comes down to it, the Tiger Woodses and the Jack Nicklauses, the ones that made them when they had to.
Seems to like it. Headed for the fat part of the green. Birdie try up next. Made par yesterday. This one for birdie. Wow, that was so close, Frank.
Just time to forget that one. I mean, he couldn't hit that much better.
Good chance here. Currently at 5 under par. Par here's fine, isn't it, Frank? Short par 4, 16th hole, measures only 393 yards. But, Frank, as is the case with pretty much every hole, despite the yardage, there's plenty of trouble.
It does. It plays tricks on the mind's eye here. It looks like it's a dog leg going one way, then back the other way. But really, it's built as a straight hole just across the canyon. And that's the way you've got to play it. I don't think you can drive the green, even the longest hitters at 393 yards. But just a nice drive down there. Take the bunkers on, get it past there. And before you know it, you've got a little wedge in here. And it should sit up nicely for a birdie.
Now, the approach shot here at 16, Frank, it is all about precision.
It certainly is. This green has a lot of contours in it, so it's very hard to get a dead straight or a flat putt here at 16. Second shot's not overly long, though, just a short on, and you should be looking at a birdie opportunity. But really, you don't want to stray too far away from 15 or 20 feet. Otherwise, it's going to get very difficult putting on this green.
This for another birdie on this hole on the week.
Great sense of speed in that. You know you can make those, but that went right in the middle.
Now to the 17th, par 5 here at Wolf Creek Golf Club.
Yeah, dogleg left. Tee shot obviously has to be played short of that creek down there. It's still going to be a reachable hole, even though this hole's sort of around the 550, 560 mark. But because you've got to play short of that stream, it's going to leave a lengthy second shot, and you've got to get the distance right on the button.
Excellent start off the tee. That's a great way to begin this hole. Okay, the second shot now at this par 5. Not looking good, Frank.
I think it's wet.
Frank, you've just hit one out of bounds. What's the way to approach this next shot?
Try and get the steam out of your ears for a start.
Now playing 4 after going OB on that previous shot. Nice approach shot. We'll be happy with that. And he makes it for par. 18th hole, and Frank, again, a good scoring opportunity. Short par 4.
Yeah, if you looked at the scorecard, you'd think you could drive this green, but one quick look at the trouble in front and to the right of the screen, and you realize that's probably not the prudent play. Really, something 230, 240 yards off the tee in that vicinity is going to leave you just a flick wedge into this green. It is a rather narrow green, but from that distance, you expect to hit it close.
That's a good start to the hole, right down the middle. This one will play a little bit longer. It's up the hill to that green. Seems to like it. Looks like it's headed for the green. Just a case of a hole suiting the player's eye. Made the birdie yesterday, and he has a good chance to make another one today. And he has it.
A good putt redeems all. Well, Rich, 2 rounds in the books, and it's easy